Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. And welcome to this month's Cooperation Africa webinar. As you know, Cooperation Africa encourages and supports cooperative development on the African continent. And this event is one in a series that's part of our education and training program designed to raise awareness and knowledge about cooperatives in Africa. My name is Amina Mama, and I shall be moderating today's session with pleasure. As the audience, welcome all of you. Please take time a moment to introduce yourselves on the chat, and then remember to place questions either in the chat or in the question and answer section provided, so that we can have a discussion when our speaker, Esther Mutungu, has completed her presentation. We usually spend about an hour or at most an hour and a quarter here in the session, and we'll invite our speaker to present for about 30 minutes so that we have a little time for questions and answers. And Esther, I will let you know 5 minutes before your time is up. But before we hear from our speaker today, for those of you who are perhaps joining us for the first time, let me say a few words about Cooperation Africa. First of all, we're a membership organization that's registered in and operating out of Ghana with members from more than 12 African countries. We support cooperatives because as businesses owned and democratically managed by members, cooperatives tend to provide their members with a higher and more secure standard of living. They do this in many different ways. Firstly, by enabling members to buy inputs together, as in what we call procurement cooperatives, selling their output together in marketing cooperatives, or saving together as in credit unions or savings and cooperative credit organizations, or what we call SACCOs on the African continent. Others do buying and selling of goods wholesale, buying goods wholesale and then selling them retail to their members, and that would be a consumer cooperative. And some own and live in jointly owned housing units, and those are called housing cooperatives. Others jointly work together in a business producing goods and services for sale to the general public, and those are what we call producer cooperatives. Now, for the countries in which they operate, cooperatives can allow much faster restructuring of the economies that we've inherited from colonialism, and move us away from the excessive concentration on just raw material production. They can help grow markets for small and medium-scale enterprises, especially for artists and cultural workers, and they can enable faster scaling up of locally owned businesses, thereby competing more effectively with foreign interests and companies. They can provide high and rising levels of employment and self-employment for the youth and the marginalized, especially women. In short, we like cooperatives because they allow us to build a more inclusive and equitable society. So at Cooperation Africa, we strive to promote co-ops mostly through, firstly, by carrying out country research, and then we plan to follow this up with advocacy. Secondly, we organize education and training events for those wishing to set up or grow their own cooperative. And finally, by providing finance to cooperatives. Hello, Fefe, could you turn your mic off? Someone's giving background music to us. Anyway, so to continue, we welcome as members all those individuals and organizations who are willing to actively help us bring about a more cooperative and self-reliant Africa. Please visit the membership section on our website if you are not already a member, and join us in building the kind of Africa we want. Now let me introduce the speaker. But before I do that, I'll just mention that these meetings are being recorded. So if you've missed the earlier sessions, you can find them all either on our website or on our YouTube channel. So please go there to catch up and spread the word. Now, moving to our speaker, very warm welcome to Esther Mutunga. She's the cooperative manager and CEO at Kamaki Farmers Cooperative Society. Hello, Esther. Welcome aboard. Esther Mutunga is a member of the younger generation. She's just 27 years old. We're particularly pleased about that. And she holds, she's been the cooperative manager for Kamaki Farmers Cooperative Society for the last 5 years. Esther holds a bachelor's degree in agribusiness management and has taken a number of other courses on beekeeping and value addition. She's been working in this position, and while she's been there, she's seen notable growth in her career and that of the cooperative, and has acquired a range of leadership skills. They work with the local communities, mobilizing, sensitizing, and training them on the importance of collective marketing. And she regards this cooperative as her greatest achievement, and seeing people join and adopt the movement. She's played a major role in solving problems and after identifying them. And her goal for the co-op is to make it an international organization and center of excellence in beekeeping, among other farming practices. So Esther, we're very delighted that you can be with us to present on the example of Kamaki Farmers Cooperative Society. And without more ado, I'll hand over to you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Amina, and thank you for the warm welcome. I really appreciate to be the speaker of this meeting today. And I hope it will be an informative meeting that we shall learn and exchange ideas from one another as we share what we do here. I'm from Kenya, and I know it's a good and interactive session that we'll have. So maybe I would share the screen so that I may start. I'll start the presentation. I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yes, we can see the screen clearly.
All right. I'll start the presentation. As Amina introduced earlier, my name is Esther Mutunga. The CEO or the cooperative manager for Kamaki Farmers Cooperative. Been here for the last 5 years, and it's for sure I've seen the cooperative grow in a great way. Okay, sorry for that. I'll start the topic today. It's enhancing beekeeping practice through cooperative efforts and resource sharing. And I'll start by giving a brief history of the cooperative, how it was formed and how it has been performing and its major purpose to the community. The cooperative was formed and registered back in 2013 after a community, which is Kamba community. It's in Kenya, the eastern region. Them that are conversant maybe with the country. We have counties, and the county is county number 015, Kitui County. The community benefited through different projects and a community-based organization, that is Mwangeni Rural Development Program. It's still there. They were funded by Dutch organization, Dorcas Aid International. And out of the many activities that were carried during the project, members of the community realized the value of marketing together. Out of the activities they were doing, there was a lot of agriculture being done. We have 2 rivers that border the area where we are in. support from the donor. Those who have interacted with donors, initially it was more of giving a lot of relief, but then the community realized that they were getting a lot, but they couldn't market it anywhere, especially with horticultural activities and the different farming activities. They didn't have a market. And that is what resulted now to the members sitting down and agreeing we need to form a cooperative. Various trainings were offered concerning the same on importance of aggregation and collective marketing. And therefore interested members registered themselves and formed Kamaki Farmers Cooperative Society today. That is back in September 2013. The name Kamaki was drawn from 5 locations of Kitui County, where we are. Just maybe to mention, it's 2 wards, Athi Ward and Ikudha Ward. That is Kalevu, Maluma, Athi, Kasala, and Ikudha. Now it could be difficult maybe to capture the names, but that is where the name Kamaki was drawn from. Hosting members from different locations. Today we are proud we've covered the entire county. We are not just within 2 wards. We are working in 40 wards, and we've seen growth. By this time, we only had 10 members forming the cooperative, grew to 30 members. And today we are 1,015 members who are proud farmers and supporting the cooperative activity. I would mention a little bit of stages of development. In 2016, Kamaki went into a partnership with county government of Kitui, and having met the required qualifications, we were able to benefit from honey processing plant, 45 beehives, and some manual honey processing equipment. The beauty about the CBO and the activities of the community, they were able to procure their own land. So when we went into partnership with county government of Kitui, we were able to get the facility built on the same land where now the cooperative members had already purchased on their own. And this is where the journey of beekeeping started, because the cooperative began with different farming activities, trying horticulture, trying goat rearing, trying green grams farming, poultry, among other farming activities. But then in 2016, the idea of beekeeping was started to grow in the cooperative. And having got the support from the county, community was mobilized and sensitized on the importance of making use of the plant that they got. Just to mention, the county did not just give to this community, it actually built 16 of them in the entire county, but the community where we are now, it embraced the plant, and it has been one of the most successful plants in the entire county. In 2018, Dorcas Aid, after phasing out in around 2013, they came back.
Esther, sorry, we have interpretation running for those who use different languages. They're having a little bit of trouble following you. So could you please turn the volume up a little bit?
Oh, okay.
Speak up a little bit so that they can interpret you. It's simultaneous interpretation in French and Portuguese. Thank you.
All right. Now you can hear me well, the interpreter?
The answer is yes.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. So maybe I'll pick from where I stopped. I mentioned in 2018, Dorcas Aid phased out in around 2013 after the COP was formed. And in 2018, they came back and realized that the COP had peaked and members were ready to market together, produce and market together. And that is when they offered to support in a pilot project for the honey value chain. They tried 2 value chains, that's poultry and honey. And in 2019, honey value chain seemed to be more feasible. And that is what now led to a full project in 2020 and a business case that has been running from 2020 all through to date. Some of the pilot activities would include farmers, mobilizations, recruitment of new members, which increased from 80 to 218 by the end of March of that is 2019. The other pilot activities included formation of farmer field schools, with 45 farmers, elections of lead farmers, lead farmer training, apiculture farmers trainings, purchase of honey processing equipment, raw honey purchase, processing, packaging, and creating market links. Those are some of the activities that took place during the pilot project that saw the full business case, or rather a project, being born in 2020 that has been running to date. Just to mention, cooperative movement, it's not much embraced in most of the communities, and it has been a challenge, maybe to just see members agree to join the cooperative. It's not an easy thing, and to us, we count it as an achievement when we see the community accepting to produce together and market together. It's a great achievement to us because it's not something common. And that is why we are saying in 2019, we only aggregated or purchased only 1,300 kgs of raw honey. That is what we could get from the farmers. This number has grown, as you will see down as I present, over years, just to appreciate when members accept to farm together and market together, the beauty about aggregation and marketing. Member registration has continued to grow. Today, we stand at 1,015 registered members who are engaged in apiculture. The target farmers by then were Athi and Ikuda, who had 17,000 beehives and could deliver an average of 80 tons per season. That is one of the key indicators that we look at, the number of hives, the colonized hives that we look at when we are saying we have members who are able to produce. The main purpose of Kamaki is to increase productivity, profitability of the members in apiculture practices. And this, we say, will be achieved through bringing all beekeepers in a common front, from registration and through registration and capacity building. Maybe, do we have any questions so far? Or I just continue?
I think you can continue till you finish your presentation, and then we'll take questions. But let me be telling people that in the meantime, if you have questions, you can begin to post them in the chat or in the Q&A, and I invite people to continue introducing themselves. We've got some amazing participants here today. Okay, please continue.
Thank you. This is just an outline of production. The trend, how it has been since 2018 when we were doing the pilot. Now we've narrowed down to apiculture as the main value chain that we are mainstreaming. In 2018, we said we only took 1.3 tons, that is 1,300 kilograms. In 2019, we were able to procure or to purchase 3,600 kgs or kilograms. In 2020, the production of the area was about 12 tons, but the cooperative was able to uptake 8.7 tons. In 2021, the area capacity to produce was 73 tons. Then the cooperative was able to uptake 28.6 tons. In 2022, the production capacity was 34 tons. The cooperative was only able to uptake 12.4 tons. In 2023, there was a great drop in production to 9.5 tons. The cooperative was able to uptake 5.6 tons. This year, the production capacity is 90 tons, and the cooperative has so far been able to uptake 37.7 tons. Maybe to explain the chart, we normally compare the capacity of production and what the cooperative is able to uptake so that we can encourage more farmers. We can also use the same data to encourage the farmers who are producing and maybe selling through other channels. They can see the beauty about selling through the cooperative and see why they need to be part of the cooperative movement, because much of the honey which gets out through other channels, most of it is actually not recorded, but we only rely on the information from the farmers who are giving us. And that is how we get to grow our numbers. When we reach out to a farmer, maybe we produce, but they were not able to deliver to us. So if we look at the trend of the cooperative, it's been fluctuating, times because of capital, times because of weather. Maybe that one I'll explain down under the challenges. So maybe if anyone has questions, maybe can explain, can ask later. I will go to governance of the cooperative. We say general is the supreme body that elects board members. That is board of management, which comprises of 9 members, and a supervisory committee comprises of 3 members who oversee the daily operations of the cooperative after the AGM is done. Then what the board has done, it is to employ staffs, that is the CEO and 3 other staffs who are helping currently with the business and other activities of the cooperative. The cooperative is governed by well-stipulated bylaws and Chapter 496 of Kenya Constitution. That is where we draw our guidelines for the governance of the cooperative. And major decisions are always made during the annual general meeting. Some of the future plans that the cooperative has, the cooperative is working towards making this a center of excellency on beekeeping matters. We only have 2 centers in the country, and we want to make this one an international center where anyone can travel, anyone can board and learn about beekeeping practically. We are actually launching a program we are calling Apitourism, where you can just tour to learn about bees and apiculture. Well, other plans are to exploit on other hive products. So far, we have only exploited on 3, that is honey, propolis, and beeswax, but we have 4 other products that we intend to exploit as we go on. That is royal jelly, bee venom, pollen, among other products in the hive. The cooperative also endeavors to create a global brand by maintaining quality honey and other products, other hive products that they are able to access or exploit on. These are some of the plans among many other plans that the cooperative has. As you can see, these are some of the products. This is honey. This is bomb honey in its natural state. This is the brand and the honey that is already refined and packed. That is the brand that the cooperative is selling. This is propolis. Propolis suspension is a product of propolis, which is got from the hive. It's also a product that the cooperative is owning. Now, the photo uploading is propolis, the raw propolis that is now used to make the propolis suspension, which is a very good antibiotic. Then we have beeswax. With beeswax, we are currently manufacturing body creams, lip balms, bathing soaps, among other products, among other beeswax products. I would go to challenges facing the cooperative so far.
Hello. Have we lost Esther? Oops.
Sorry, my network was interrupted a little bit.
Let's give Esther a moment. Are you restoring your slides?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Another challenge that
We seem to be having some connection challenges. Let's just be patient, please, and hopefully Esther will be restored to us. I'm sure that Esther is trying to reconnect, but in the meantime, I mean, as people are commenting in the chat, this is an amazing example to have this number accumulated over 1,000 members and to be successfully producing 80 tons of honey per season. This is a spectacularly successful example. And I hope we get Esther back so she can complete her presentation. She was just talking to us about challenges. We've also posted the URL to the Kamaki Cooperative Society in the chat. So, hello, are you back?
Hello, this is Dominic.
Hello, Dominic.
Yes, I will work with Esther.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, initially, as she said, we targeted the many farmers in the dry areas. Some would irrigate, others would do livestock upgrading and a lot of other things. Then the community we work with is this community in the country where people joining together to market together is still a challenge that we face. I'm now 12 years here. I coordinate. We have projects. We have an apiculture program that trains the farmers on quality handling. We have a climate change program that handles the forage for the bees. So we are trying to find out the root causes of problems where maybe women are not involved in these, people with disability, because hives used to be hung. It was so rudimental. Traditionally, the community and bees are just people will own knives. That's traditional. Then now the plan is making this a business case. That is why the projects, because of course projects are there to end at some point, but the aim is commercialize the farmers so that currently even pursuing maybe export markets where honey, organic good honey through the Kenya Bureau of Standards, through Kenya Institute of Products for Trademarks and ISO certifications, so that they sell. Want to interlink bees with even pollination, bees with preventive healthcare, bees with pitourism, where people now are doubting honey everywhere. But now in Kitui, there are huge lands, idle lands. We say if every tree has a hive, then no one has the courage to cut that tree. That's why the current government plan on planting 15 billion. Kitui is one of the most hit places. People used to rely on charcoal burning, charcoal trading. So we are rehabilitating, trying to say, let's have hives, bees as one of the key income generation. We border national parks, we border hills and such. So my name is just say Esther runs the business as the manager. We also are fundraising to get supportive activities for beekeeping, where we can even, we are partnering with research institutions like ISIPE, universities to tell us, can we put bees in there? Can we rear bees? Something like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for filling in, Dominic. I think we have Esther back. Esther, can I invite you to complete your presentation, please?
Yeah, I was just sharing when Esther was coming back.
Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that and helping us out. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the network hiccups. I was on the challenges facing the business and the cooperative at large. I mentioned of shift in consumer demand. Honey is more of a secondary commodity. It's not a necessity to many people. So you realize it's not easy to move volumes every day. So as Dominic mentioned, we are still pursuing to get a reliable and a potential with us. I'm trying to proceed. Okay. So among other challenges that we are facing are pests and diseases. On the last photo, you saw some funny photos. These are pests and diseases that are infesting honey, both in hives and also after harvesting. So we have that as a challenge, pests and diseases. We have also, as I mentioned earlier in the brief and history, I talked of slow adoption to cooperative movement. It's also a challenge. Then we've insufficient capital to purchase all the raw honey. Honey is seasonal, and you realize when you are not able to procure or purchase the honey during the season, then it might be a challenge to get the stock when it's off season. These are some of the opportunities that we have in the business and in the entire beekeeping enterprise. We are looking at other hive products as a mainstream that we can venture in. That is pollen, bee venom, and royal jelly. We have colony division, queen rearing for hive stocking. These are some opportunities that we can have. We talk of making honey candies, honey cakes, and chocolates. I mentioned one here where we say we have an opportunity of placing, the cooperative has an opportunity to place hives along riverbanks, that is Savo East, riverbanks and Savo East. We border Savo East corridors for them that are conversant with the country. We have the biggest national park, Savo. We just border it, the eastern part of it. And there's a corridor where we have been where we are able to access and place hives. Then Dominic, when I was coming in, was mentioning something on women and youth. It's also an opportunity where we have people with disabilities, women and youth. They can join the venture through tailoring. We need people to make harvesting gear for the beekeepers, packaging materials, that is basketry, and pots for keeping the stingless bees. Also a venture that we are saying we can also venture into. Then there is also rearing bees for pollination businesses. Today, people are serious in farming here. They normally buy hives or just hire beehives to pollinate their farms. It's also an opportunity for the cooperative. Just to mention a few of the lessons that we've learned through that journey since 2013, is that beekeeping is a lucrative venture. It's an activity that we normally say it's majorly for the idle people. You just keep beehives and bees will work for you. You majorly don't need a lot of manpower around the farm. You only need the right management of the apiaries, and you'll have product for market. Another lesson is that capacity building is more important than just material support. With years and learning from the projects, from one project to another, we've learned that our community would really appreciate when they're just capacity builded. Give them the fishing net and not just the fish, so that they can learn how to fish for themselves. Then collective marketing helps farmers realize better returns on their produce. Over years, we have seen farmers grow in terms of their incomes, educate their children. Beekeeping was known for the poor and just for people who have nothing to do. Today, we are seeing even people in serious enterprises choosing to go into beekeeping. Retired guys choosing to go into beekeeping simply because it's a lucrative venture and it has returns, especially when people choose to market together. Then we have made the market even aware of the benefits of beekeeping. We have also learned that when resources are pulled together, development is visible. Today, where we see it, we've seen transformation of the community, where people can educate their own children from just a begging community to, we are transiting to a self-reliant community. It is what we are envisioning as a cooperative and as a society, so that through the activities that we are doing as a cooperative, we are able to leave the community self-reliant one. These are some of the lessons among many other lessons learned. And that marks the end of my presentation today. And I say thank you as I invite reactions, comments, and questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Esther, for a wonderful presentation. You've opened up a whole new world to some of us, and I'm pleased to see that we also have several other people involved with honey production and beekeeping on this webinar with us. And there are a number of questions. I will review the chat, but I also invite people to raise their hands and signal if they want to ask a particular question. I particularly wanted to ask what happened in 2023, where you had a sudden drop in an interruption in your ascent, as it were.
Yeah, there's a big drop even in production. This is whether it was a season of drought. We really experienced drought from 2022 till late 2023. And definitely when we do not have rains, we do not have forage for bees, we do not have water for bees, and therefore we don't expect produce. That's why I mentioned it's a major challenge when it comes to weather patterns. But that's why we are incorporating a project on climate change to mitigate the problem, where we are doing water structures, restoration of the environment through tree growing, among other climate change practices.
Okay, thank you. Robert Mutusi is asking if you have any trouble, any cases where hives, I mean, apart from the honey badger that you showed us the picture of, are there cases where people vandalize the hives and steal honey within the cooperative?
Yes, that's a common case where we have farmers keeping beehives far from their homesteads. People can get into the apiaries, destroy the hives, or harvest the honey, or even for the old who cannot maybe access the hives when they send the young to go and harvest on their behalf. There's a trick that they use on saying that there's no honey, but later they will go and harvest all the honey. But just to solve the challenge, what you've done, we are advising farmers to set apiaries near their homesteads, fence their apiaries, stop placing hives on top of trees. Maybe to those who are aware of beekeeping, it used to be on very tall trees, but today we are having modern stands where we can place hives at a manageable height, where a farmer can access, can inspect hives regularly and see what is happening on the hives. That is a way of mitigating the problem, where even the old, you can just decide, go sit there as the young person harvests for you. You can see for yourself what is really happening at the apiary.
Okay, thank you. There's also from Robert.
I'm adding something that.
Yeah, go ahead, Dominique.
Yes, I'm trying to say we're integrating even IT, technology and bees, where people maybe can even manage their bees. Technology in Kenya is very much adopted. Even the edge now can communicate via phone. So we want, we're trying to incorporate systems that we can even communicate with the farmers. No, okay, the diseases are there. It is time for harvesting. Like, we want to make it easy that what was believed before that someone must go to the bush at night and burn with the bees, that's why they bite a lot. Then the assessor was saying someone can just keep the bees around the areas. They don't bite, they are just under livestock. So they are good. When you train them to stay well, they stay without harming anyone. So integrating technology and bees where people can manage even the temperatures. There are people on courses on why are the bees absconding? What is the temperature of hive number 1 and hive number 100 this way, and trying to even increase why modern beekeeping, the modern hives, why are they better than even the traditional hives? Why should they not be hung on top of the baobab trees, such things? Because when we say we have to include women, people with disability, then the taboo that someone, a woman, a mother won't climb the tree, so they will ignore beekeeping, but we are bringing it to be for everybody. If youths are not patient with waiting for until honey is mature, then they will help us in transporting, making the hives. Young ladies making the bee suits. That is the plan. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, there's also some other questions. I was very interested in some of the additional products that you mentioned, because these sound like extremely lucrative things, royal jelly. And I wanted to ask, for those of us who don't know, what is bee venom used for? In addition to the honey, you talked about royal jelly and you talked about bee venom. And then I was very curious, you mentioned stingless bees. Perhaps you could enlighten our participants on some of these details.
You're right. I'll start with stingless bees. Stingless bees are bees that don't sting. They are normally found underground or on barks of trees. And today they can be domesticated. We have pots made for domesticating such bees, that is stingless bees. And we also have small hives that have also been modified for such purposes. Stingless bees honey, it's the most nutritious, and them that have done research say its medicinal value and health benefits are high compared to the stinging bees honey. So that is honey that can be kept by people. These are bees that can be kept by people who are just having phobia for the stinging bees. Maybe you can just choose to keep the stingless bees. Their honey is quite, I would say, expensive compared to the stinging bees honey. And also it's propolis.
Okay, then we have, oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, mentioning about now royal jelly. Royal jelly, it's normally what the queen bee feeds in the beehive. Today, we have it packed in capsules in different forms to the most advanced countries. And even in the country, we have some of the private entities that are already doing it. It's normally used as an anti-aging product. And it's also good for boosting immunity. It's also quite expensive. Yeah. And also bee venom. Bee venom, it's the poison of the bee. When the bee stings you, there is the poison that it pumps into your body. So that is also harvested. It's what medics and pharmaceuticals are using to make as injectables for cancers, arthritis, among other diseases. If actually we say naturally, if a bee stings you, you're boosting your own immunity. If you're ailing, there are people already doing apitherapy with bees, just sting wherever it's paining, and then you will be relieved from the pain. It's something that has been done by different people in the business, and it's what we also want to venture into.
And adding, why we are having now the research scientists, even doctors, they will tell us what is in propolis, in Kitui, or in Kilifi. We compare from the different results. Then someone maybe in the lab will test what is making, because as the bees take nectar from the flowers, they take pollen, propolis from the bark of the trees. Nothing more curative than natural everything. So they will tell us what is works in Kitui, what is works in in another area of this world. So we compare to understand, because we try to check, like for Manuka honey, they just do the Manuka plant. Here we have special plants like acacia is a key plant here. We have moringa and others. So today if we package and we brand that specific type of flora, because naturally the trees there is time for acacia, there is time for another type of a tree. This way, then when someone tests, will tell us what is the value. Why is stingless bees making more better honey than the stinging bees? Even the bees are different types. There are lazy bees. Our bees are very good and very sharp in making the honey. So it is natural. Thank you.
Thank you. We have several questions from Antoinette. Antoinette Sala, you're very welcome. She's asking whether the beekeepers have, do the beekeepers have other activities because beekeeping is seasonal? And secondly, she did ask about whether you only sell honey. You've said something about the other products, but she's asking about ginger, acacia, and other things that can be sold in small jars, Antoinette. And then thirdly, is protective equipment manufactured in Kenya? And then there's another, can I continue? There's one more question, which is about you as a great woman in the sector and what motivated you to start beekeeping as a livelihood option yourself?
I can answer the first question on why the other products. The bee value chain is huge, bigger than. There are so many subsidiary products. If it is wax, then we can make candles, we can make the body creams, we can make a lot of other things from wax. From honey itself, we can also make sweets, everything. So the products are many. Someone just chooses, do I go into venom? Someone is just in venom. Another one is just in propolis, and someone else also chooses. So the value chain is huge. Someone is strictly in queen rearing, as Esther was presenting, to just sell bees, colonies to people who do not have bees in there. Like it is a big value chain. Actually, here we say the bee is bigger than the elephant.
Okay, Esther, did you want to add, particularly around, well, I think more generally, can I open the question more generally and ask about the participation of women in the cooperative? Are there gender differences in who is doing what? And maybe you could say a little more about them. There was earlier reference to women not climbing trees, but now we have hives on the ground. What are the prevailing gender relations? And is the cooperative doing things to improve the level of equity between men and women among its members? And then the personal question, what made you, as a young woman who's become a great woman in the sector, what made you choose this direction for yourself?
Thank you, Amina. I would start responding even to the first question as I respond to the other two. The first question was whether the beekeepers have other activities. Majorly, the other activities that are there are just short-term activities. They are not very reliable activities from the community that we are in. But what we did was to register a circle so that the farmers are not exploited, because majorly what happens during the off-season, it's when the middleman takes advantage to exploit the beekeepers. So what we've done is to form a circle and now encouraging the farmers to be in groups where they can do what we call the village led savings and credit or loaning groups, where they can just loan themselves and have their own small enterprises at the village level, so that when it's even off season, they are not just off the farms, there's something they are doing. Again, when we're talking of other high products like propolis, it's what now the farmers can focus on when they are done with harvesting the honey. Let's say when it's off season, like from August to October, the farmers, when they'll be cleaning hives for the next swarming season, they'll be able to harvest propolis, which is also a beekeeping activity, now deliver it to the cooperative, and that keeps the farmers busy at their apiaries and also keeps them watching on what is happening at their hives and their apiaries. Responding on this, there was a question of acacia, ginger, and other products. For now, we have not done any blend of the honey. We are just doing the original honey as it is at the natural state. We have not done any blend so far. And other hive product, the other products, the body cream, the propolis are there in the market. They can be found. Then on protective gears, in the country we have a kit of the bee suit. There's a bee suit that we have. It's made by the tailors. We have different people are now making it, not just imported, and that's where we are saying women have an opportunity and youth also to venture in tailoring activities where they can make bee suits for the beekeepers. So the gears, the protective gears are there, yes, and they are made in the country, some for cotton, others for silk and different materials. As well as smokers, we have some which are fabricated locally, and others are still imported.
And adding to what Esther is saying, we've almost hosted all the beekeeping cooperatives, even in Kitui. We supported to even support other cooperatives in Kitui and elsewhere. Like during the World Bee Day, we were in Kajiado for the World Bee Day. They started their own cooperative where you realize like there are men, the activities that are selected for men and women, you find in Kajiado, women will choose beekeeping more. Reasons being the cow belongs to the man. So you just have to choose an activity that will help someone put food on the table. We in Baringo, then youths are more in bees keeping. So here we are trying to see what suits youths more, what suits women more. So the bee is, as I said, is a long value chain. The beauty products are more for women, will make the body creams more. Youth will help us carry the honey from, of course, beekeeping is still done in the farthest areas. They will help us transport the honey, market the honey, technology, and now the edge also have their role. So it is an all inclusive program. Elsewhere you find women, you find the biggest, I think like in Kitui, a lady owns more hives than another person because some activities are for men, others are for women.
Yeah, just to add on what Dominic is saying, maybe just to take us to the past a little bit. In the history is that beehives were only owned by the old men, and women were only expected just to prepare the harvesting buckets or the equipment for the old man to go and harvest the honey, but never to go near the hives. These are cultures that have been beaten with time, and we've seen growth, we've seen transformation. Today, Dominic is talking of women owning more beehives than men, because even as years have advanced, women have realized there's value in beekeeping, me being one of them. There's value in beekeeping, and it's venture where you don't need so much except the initial capital investment. The other part is just monitoring the apiary and what is happening in the beehives. And harvesting season, we have now the harvesting gears where you can harvest the honey yourself. So it's more encouraging, and even women have an opportunity because bees don't need medication. They don't need they don't need feeding and a lot of monitoring. So it's an activity that anyone can run irrespective of gender. And also that the culture has allowed. Today, now we've done a lot of trainings, projects are still enriching women and empowering women to see why they also need to venture into beekeeping. And that is how we have been able to break that culture of beekeeping is just for the old man. Today, youth and women are also involved in beekeeping, not just the tailoring on the basketry we talked about, but also in the real beekeeping practice.
This is very good news. There's another question about, I think you did give a bit of an answer to it, but how do you, from
saying something that even some parts of meat we are trying to teach that culture, that our culture actually is the Kamba people in Kitui, Makueni, Machakos are saying, okay, a woman can be a governor, a woman can be a member of the parliament, but elsewhere it is bad. That it was so bad that it was a taboo. You go close to a hive, the bees will run away. So we are trying to train our people that let everybody be involved. Decision making is in our community. We are good. It's both for men and women. So because even when the man is aging, then needs the daughters and the wife to assist. So they will be happy that a wife and the man will go, they get money, they take fees to school, all that. So we are trying to train that this culture that is so detrimental, I mean, it's putting some people off some issues, and we're happy that our community is embracing.
Thank you. And maybe to respond to the question of what motivated me, one, beekeeping, it's what has educated me. I grew knowing my father as a beekeeper. And after my university education, I started small business in selling honey in the capital city of the country, Nairobi. But I was challenged because I didn't know the pure honey. I didn't know the original honey. And this was a challenge for me, even to know when am I getting the right honey for my clients in Nairobi. And I remember a time when I was caught with a case of selling adulterated honey. And this really moved me to get to know which is the pure honey, which is the authentic honey that even my consumers would be able to appreciate. And in the journey and in search for work, this is how I landed at Kamaki a few years back. And I've grown knowing that it's something that I wanted to do it as an individual, not just as an employee of the cooperative, but now having an opportunity to interact with other beekeepers, sharing knowledge, getting to become an expert in the entire field, from just the beehives to the last product that we can get from the bees. And that is one motivation that I have as a young person, knowing that recently that I've watched what was happening in our country. There were a lot of demonstrations for the generation that we're calling Generation Z. And it's because jobs are not there in the country. We have so many graduates who are just sleeping in their homes, nothing to do. But in beekeeping, there's a huge opportunity, a very huge opportunity, where you only need to have hives, place them somewhere. We say bees can forage from any person's farm. You will never get a case of bees having interfered with someone's forest or anyone's farm. So you have an opportunity to rear bees without much regulations that are there. So that is one of the motivations that has made me just love beekeeping. And the beekeeping itself, it's a good science. Thing that I've learned about beekeeping, it's a very beautiful science. You just want to get to know what the bee does. The bee is very organized. The bee does their work very well. And that is a great motivation for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you for those.
Adding a bit, Atuta was moving around to the Kamba previous governors for the county that a Kamba person will cut an acacia, get 2,000 from the same. Then the same acacia can give 10,000 per particular season, and the acacia is staying. So it is good. You keep the bees. No one has the courage to cut entry with the beehives on top. No one has the courage to leave goats, gold leverage on so it is a protective, it's a very friendly activity for even the environment. And this way, those who are doing it are seeing the change. Rains are, agroforestry. And then we know we even added to carbon trading, where you keep the trees safe, they absorb the carbon, you keep beehives on top, you get money, because the cooperative will pay. And even when there is no honey, we have a program, a SACCO, a savings society, where someone, because what pushes our people is fees issues, food, sicknesses. So you can get some support so that when you have honey, we are contracting that you bring the honey to the cooperative.
Okay, thank you. I'd particularly like to highlight Aubrey Roberts, who's from Kingdom Apiary Products and Supplies in Guyana, South America. Aubrey, welcome. And I'm wondering if you have any particular comments you'd like to make when you've heard all this about the beekeeping cooperative in Kenya. And I'd also like to recognize and maybe call out Dawn Nomdo from Honey Dawn Beekeeping and Agro-Processing in South Africa, who says it's absolutely amazing to see this beautiful growth in apiculture in Kenya. I'm noting that these are, I don't know what gender Aubrey is, but Dawn, probably a woman. And I'm wondering if you would like to add to the conversation. And I'm tracking my messages. We've heard quite a bit from...
Yes. I'd like to jump in here. Yes, I'm very excited to be part of this forum. I am a beekeeper since 1989. In fact, this month, I'm celebrating 35 years as a beekeeper. I started while I was in school. I attended a boarding school called the President's College, and we did beekeeping there. And I never stopped beekeeping since I was 16 years old. So
Wow.
I'm very excited to be part of this forum. I do a lot of work with small beekeepers in Guyana. My business is a local business, a family business, but part of our work is with promoting and developing new and small beekeepers, right? By providing equipment, training, and that kind of thing. We try to do it with government and non-governmental organizations. Since COVID, we haven't done any of those. The last one was in June 2019, actually. But what it has done in Guyana is that it has leveraged some of the government support, right? And the government is now promoting beekeeping through the Livestock Development Agency. And we believe that we were the, we planted the seed as such, you know? So now the tree is growing and, you know, there's lots of money to be spent on beekeeping. I'm particularly impressed by the model of the cooperative because, you know, there's a view sometimes that we can't work together for whatever reason, right? And I think that this model that shows that, you know, you could actually get a couple of hundred beekeepers working together in Guyana. Our apical society just has about 40, 50 beekeepers. We mostly operate in WhatsApp and a group we share of what we're doing and so on. But we're not as organized. We don't have an office, we don't have an administrator, CEO, and that kind of thing. You know, and I think that we need to move to having some structure so that we could become a real beekeeping business, you know, and have all the beekeepers feeding into the system. In the country, we probably have about 250 persons of rabies, but our country has a vast rainforest, right? In Guyana, we have about 60, 70 million hectares of pristine forest, right? We also have a lot of secondary forests. I operate mostly in secondary forests, but there's pristine forest. The only barrier really is the remoteness of it, because many of those areas you have to go by plane. You know, from the capital is like an hour flight to get to those communities. But there is huge potential. There is also some road network which is developing. I don't know if other persons here are aware, but Guyana over the last 7 years or so started to produce oil. And that has been a shot in the arm in terms of infrastructure and growth and money to do different things. So we're working to build out more roads and so on. I think that will make it easier for beekeepers to operate within the forest. You know?
Thank you.
Just like the Manuka honey, we have lots of exotic nectars in Guyana too. Some of it we have been able to showcase at Apamondia in that was in 2019 also. But with research development and cooperativism, I believe Guyana can, like Kenya, like South Africa, we can really fill the gap in the global shortages of honey, right? We don't have to depend on Ukraine, we don't have to depend on Canada, we don't have to depend on China. I think between Africa, South America, Caribbean, we could really, you know, put a serious, acquire a significant share of global honey demand. So thank you very much, and I look forward to I'll be following this group, the Cooperation Africa, and I hope that sometime I can visit the Kamaki group in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. We're almost out of time. We've gone into our extra 15 minutes beyond the hour. So just ask if there are other people who have questions. Did I hear a voice before I come back to us?
Hi, Amina. This is Dawn from South Africa.
Hi, Dawn. Yes, please.
Hi.
Do go.
Firstly, just beautiful celebrations to Esther. I absolutely love listening to stories of fellow women beekeepers throughout the continent, and I really just want to celebrate her in this moment and say thank you for paving the way for so many of us. It's a struggle. This work is not easy. Agriculture, any agricultural work is not easy, but we push through every day. I think there's so many barriers to entry, specifically for women. Accessing land in our country is a struggle. As a Black woman in agriculture, just finding agricultural land to be able to keep your bees, and the input cost of the equipment and all of that is really, really difficult. But I think there is a new phase that we're in, especially now with me. I call myself a solopreneur and supporting other women as well alongside me, to really keep pushing and growing in the industry, because there are many opportunities, as we can see, all of the avenues to go into. I'm very proud to be a beekeeper in Africa. I think we should be able to showcase what we do globally. We have the climate, we have the opportunities, we should just make the most of it. And I just want to say thank you for having me be part of this discussion. It really is encouraging to keep going on. And congratulations again to Esther and everyone else who's in beekeeping. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn, for that contribution. It's very heartening to hear beekeepers and women beekeepers in particular in other parts of Africa. And from both Aubrey in Guyana and Dawn, it sounds as if you yet to form cooperatives. And the example that we've heard today really underlines the power of working together collaboratively to grow beekeeping as a business that can be extremely lucrative. Not just because of the honey and benefits.
I mean, responding to the speakers before, we equally appreciate. We lack a lot of information, so experience is the best teacher. When I had a beekeeper, and then the downside also is in it is good to encourage each other. That's why this meeting is so key to keep us moving, cannot be left. We are the people to treat, like I usually tell even my doctor friends, wait for the patients in hospitals, you cannot treat them. Just we train preventive healthcare. People take honey, take propolis, they are good to go.
Okay, Esther, did you wish to say anything else before I hand over to Adote Bing, the co-chair of Cooperation Africa, who would also like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, Amina, and everyone. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to share our experience in the industry. And we hope to interact more and learn more, because we are saying we're just in a journey to learn and also to grow ourselves. So thank you, everyone, and everyone not in beekeeping. It's a very, very creative venture. Please just have one or two, even for your L. It's key. Thank you.
Several people are asking for your contacts. Can I invite you, if you feel happy to do so, to put them in the chat so that you can continue networking, especially with other beekeepers, perhaps towards developing more cooperatives that do beekeeping. And then I'll hand over to Adote Bing Papo, to say a few words here. Adote, are you there?
Okay, yes, I'm here. First of all, thank you very much, Esther, for the presentation. Very informative presentation. All I wanted to do was to draw the attention of attendees to an event that Cooperation Africa is involved in organizing next February. And that event is commemorating the fact that the United Nations General Assembly has decided to designate 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives. And to those people who are on this chat who are members of Cooperative, there's a call for papers. I tried to put it up on this chat, but I seem not to have succeeded. I will try again in a minute. There's a call for papers because we're going to have an online conference from the 4th to the 10th of February. And it would be wonderful if we could have, some people present about their co-ops, all right, from Africa and the African diaspora in that meeting. So I'm encouraging you, please. I don't know, Abner, I tried to do this. Abner, are you able to do this? Otherwise, I'll try again to upload the flyer for the conference, the call for papers. And after I've spoken, I'll try again, but to upload the flyers and really to participate so that we can make an African presence in this global event next February. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to encourage people to do.
Okay, thank you for that. And I see Dawn has put Honey at Dawn essay. And there was one more question about someone wants to invest in Kamaki Cooperative. Juliet Kago is asking, are there opportunities for Black women-led cooperatives in the diaspora to invest in Kamaki Cooperative and possibly others?
Yes,
so that's yes, Esther.
Yes, there's an opportunity for women to invest. But maybe you can reach out so that we can understand what kind of investment that you want to do.
And the website for Kamaki Cooperative is available on this chat at https:// kamaki.or.ke for Kenya. kamaki.or.ke for Kenya.
I've been able to upload the flyer, so on this, it's not now on the chat.
And I think at this point, we need to close the session. We've actually run a little over time, and people will probably have other obligations taking them away gradually. So let me just thank everyone for staying throughout the session. We've had a full room for this very, very fascinating discussion about beekeeping, the whole new world of beekeeping, and the highly successful example of Kamaki Cooperative with its over 1,000 members, and particularly appreciate not only its success, but its commitment to making beekeeping and apiary farming more inclusive by involving younger people and women, so that it moves beyond being an activity just for older men. I think it has enormous liberatory potential and livelihood potential. And thank all of those of you who've shared your contacts so that you all can continue to network within and beyond Cooperation Africa. And I would like to end by really welcoming people and inviting people, if you've not already joined, to go to Cooperation Africa's website and become a member. For a $20 a year subscription, you will have access to many resources and things that we are in the process of developing, including the above mentioned conference opportunity. So unless there's any really urgent last minute thing, I will turn to Esther with a huge thank you and invite you to have the closing word.
And a bit, we are working with ESTA registers, those who want to pay shares registration. As we work with the projects are targeting outgrowers, people who are not members of the cooperative, but selling through the cooperative. They are yet to decide, do I become a member? It is their decision. So we are working to close to 10,000 people in Kitwe.
Thank you. And sorry, you've got a lot of background noise there, Dominic. Esther, did you wish to say anything? We thanked you enormously for your presentation and for your responses to the various discussion points raised.
Thank you, Amina, and to everyone again. I know there are questions which you've not been able to tackle when I'm going through the chat page. Maybe just to them that feel they were distressed so much, maybe they can just reach out. I've shared out our emails, and maybe you can reach out for more information. We are also sourcing for a market in case you're in the business and you can come in as an off-taker for the quality honey and pure honey. Then we have it. Being farmers cooperatives, We assure people of quality from farm to market is what we've maintained for years. And we assure consumers that we've quality product worth being consumed internationally. So in case you are there and maybe you're looking for the product or you're sourcing for the raw material, here we are, and maybe reach out and do business together. Thank you very much to Cooperation Africa. We appreciate for such an opportunity. It's not just a normal opportunity, giving us an opportunity to share what we do internationally. We really appreciate, and we say thank you and welcome for more opportunities like this. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, and thank you to everyone who's joined us for your participation and your active participation. And at this point, I will now close the session and invite you all to keep coming, join Cooperation Africa and keep attending our regular webinars. We have some exciting, equally exciting, but this has been an exceptional pleasure. So thank you all very, very much. And goodbye. Keep networking, keep in touch with one another, and keep in touch with Cooperation Africa.